Right, welcome to Dan Talks United. We've got to get back into things. I know we're not playing and the season's over. World Cup is the season right now. It's really hot in the UK, probably just as hot as America at the moment. It's sweltering. Got a guest here, Alex from the Football Brotherhood. Nice to see you, Alex. It's been a while since we spoke about Manchester United and football in general, although we are in the group chat. How's things with yourself before we get going?
Yeah, good. I mean, you touched on the weather. The UK. I mean, we moan when it's raining and we moan when it's hot, but it is hot. So yeah, man, just trying to keep us cool. I've got a cheap Amazon aircon system, which isn't really cutting it at the moment. But yeah, how are you? Are you okay?
Yeah, not too bad apart from absolutely sweltering, melting. But like you've just said there, we do moan, don't we? We can never be happy in this country.
Yeah, never happy, are we? And we're United fans, so we're never
happy. This is it, yeah. The weather is just like United. Unpredictable.
That's it.
Right then. So we're going to get into it. So for anybody watching, we're going to cover a bit of the World Cup because you've got to do that because World Cup's on at the moment. Sure. Cover a bit of transfers as well, just see where we're at with transfers. It seems a bit slow, but things are happening in the background. Apparently, Manchester United, what you up to? Getting probably done by Spurs, but we'll get into that. We'll talk really quickly about the stadium, what your thoughts are on the new stadium as we start to progress a little bit further with that, with the land and what have you. Then we'll talk about the sort of season ahead and how we're feeling about the first sort of fixtures, the first 5, first 10, and the sort of full fixture list. And we'll go from there. So let's get kicked off then. I know I haven't really asked you really how you feel about the World Cup. So I was sort of saying to David that I'm not as excited about the World Cup as normal. I think some of it's to do with, I think the teams that everybody sort of likes, like your Brazils, the famous yellow shirt, not quite the same Brazil as they used to be in the Ronaldinho days and the R9 days. Portugal, Ronaldo's getting a bit old now. Germany are not quite the same as they used to be. Spain have started a bit slow. I know they did well in that second game, but how are you feeling about the World Cup? Are you excited? You've been watching much of it?
I echo your thoughts. I mean, I think football in general, there's been a little bit of a dip in quality, and we speak all the time about it, don't we? And I know we're going to get into some transfers in a minute about some of your 80, 90 million pound guys now. And you're right, like the nations, they're not like, but you know, we're talking about Brazil, 98. Ronaldo, 02, Ronaldinho, and we haven't got that now. Like, as much as we're going to touch on some United players like Matheus Cunha did well last night again, but they're not R9, these guys. You know what I mean? No. Neymar comes off the bench. He's not the same Neymar. Cristiano's not the same Cristiano. Messi is in his moments, but he's not the Messi of 10 years ago, clearly. I think, look, as it's been as good as it can be with the stars, Dan. I think they've all, Ronaldo got a couple the other night. Most of them are off the mark, at least 2, 3, 4, Messi 5. So in that respect, great seeing some of the names. And I'm a big Cunha guy, so I'm chuffed for Cunha as well, who we're going to touch on, aren't we? So look, I agree with you. It's not what I grew up doing and watching this World Cup, but I am enjoying it at the same time. And I think you mentioned some of the home nations on your episode last.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in USA, definitely USA, just purely because I do like Poch, and if they get a favourable draw, there's no reason they couldn't make a quarters run. So I think a good World Cup needs your stars to score, a home nation to do well, and a bit of a dark horse. So I'm looking forward to hopefully Norway doing well and filling that void. And if that happens, it's turning out to be a decent one. I know you watched a little bit of Brazil last night. I woke up to some of your messages. So good to see them get through top of the group. That's what I expect with Brazil and what I want from Cunha. So, yeah,
it was nice to see. And we'll go on to some of our players in the World Cup, because it doesn't feel like there's many that are there or many that are playing, which is a bit sad. But yeah, just to follow on from what you're saying there. It's...
How many have we got? Is it like Bruno, Cunha, and Lisandro?
It's strange, isn't it? It feels like there's like 3 or 4.
Is that good, bad? Are we going to be fresh going into the season, maybe? But
there's always a shiny light. But just going off the back of what you're saying there, I think the home nation thing, I thought it was a key point for me, because I think, again, whenever you've got a World Cup in any country, you want to see that So you want to see that nation do well. I'm not saying they have to win it, but go a bit further, because you've got Americans that are starting to really love football. Obviously, I might be a bit ignorant, and maybe they've loved football for a long, long time, but they do seem to be really getting on board. You've seen a lot more of their stars from like NFL and baseball and stuff like that being shown in the stadiums. There's a lot of sort of movie stars turning up and stuff like that. So there's a lot of sort of pull around it. And obviously with people like Beckham that's out there with his football team, it drives that sort of eyes on it. But it's nice to see. Definitely. And I think, like I say, USA have quite surprised me. Because I know there's been a lot of mixed sort of opinions on Poch, but they're pressed really well.
Poch, Dan? Are you a Poch guy?
It's sort of to a certain extent. I think it was one of those where I've had my moments where I wouldn't have minded him being our coach at one point.
Likewise, yeah.
And there's still a part of me where it would have been nice to see us give him a try. And maybe the stars just haven't quite aligned, have they, really? And I think I didn't really want Carrick. I think it's one of those where there's a few coaches out there that I would have probably wanted to try ahead of Carrick, and maybe Poch was one of them, but it wasn't top of my list. But when you look at how USA are playing in terms of how they're pressing, how organised they are, and what is getting out of them, it's quite amazing, really, in a sense. So it's nice to see. It'd be nice to see him get a bit further and really challenge. I'm not saying they're going to win the World Cup. I don't think that, but they have made a really good account for themselves, I'd say, USA.
I agree. And I think Balogun as well. He's done really well.
Yeah, he's looked good, hasn't he? Yeah, definitely. There's been one or two
World Cup buy for somebody,
like your Tyler Adams and people like that. There's been one or two, haven't there?
Yeah.
I think, it's been good. Been good to see that. Canada again. I know they lost recently, but they'd been playing well, and they'd surprised me a little bit, to be honest, because it normally seemed like they just went through one or two players, and they seemed more of a team this time round. And then Mexico quietly doing their business in the background. So very good to see. So just want to really touch on our players in the World Cup, really, just really quickly. So obviously, for me, Bruno seemed to have come a bit more to the fore in that last game for Portugal. Obviously, really nice assist to CR7 there. It looks like CR7 was almost orchestrating where he wanted the ball. I don't know if you saw the clip of that, where he's sort of telling him to slow down, and then he's pointing to say, "I'm going to go on my bike." How have you found sort of Bruno's performance so far before we go into Cunha's? Have you watched much of him? Seem to have got a. Are you on mute there, Alex? I can't hear you now.
Sorry, mute myself.
Oh, that's fine. I thought it was me then for a second.
Watched both games, and I was really disappointed with one, Roberto Martinez's team selection, and two, the fallout. I know Ronaldo's sister was doing what the Ronaldo family do with their subtle, well, not subtle, really, just straight up liking a bit of Bruno hate, and it upset me really because, you know, I really have a lot of time for Bruno, and I think I was so chuffed with the way this season went for him. If he finally got, in my opinion, his plaudits, and going into game one, Roberto Martinez has watched him play behind three pacey players all season, break the assist record, and then in game one gives him 41-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo and the corpse of Bernardo Silva on the right wing, and goes, "Go on, mate, go and show us this assist king that you are now." And it's like, mate, where have you been? Like, what he's had all.
You've mentioned it, so I'll put that up while you're talking.
Yeah, 20. So look, I mean, look at his numbers, and he plays with in behind players. Bruno likes to. He's got three guys who can stretch the pitch, and they're a threat in behind. And he goes and gives him Bernardo and Ronaldo. Look, Ronaldo's going to play. I appreciate that. And in game two, they did find some space. Uzbekistan were probably, with Qatar, the worst team I've seen so far, in fairness. Credit where credit's due. Ronaldo did come and he got a couple of goals. Fair play to the guy. Bruno, for me, I don't think they're set up to get the best out of him like United are, with the Cunha, Sesko, and Mbumo, and even Ahmad to a degree. They can get in behind, and they are quick breaking players. United play on the counter as well. Portugal have got two of the best possession guys in the world in midfield. They're not going to play on the counter, and they've got a 41-year-old top. So, look, I thought he played well against Uzbekistan. Do I see a all-timer tournament from Bruno? I don't, because of the setup of Portugal. Now,
I get what you're saying.
you don't have to have an all-timer tournament to go deep here. Portugal are talented. So it's not a case that Portugal won't go far, but I think Bruno, obviously, PF probably going to be player of the season in the Prem. I think he won it, then he won the Writers Award, and obviously Man United player of the season. To see a World Cup player of the tournament level from him, I don't see it, Dan, purely because of the mashup. And I don't rate Martinez either, and I don't think you do. So that's where I'm at with Bruno. Hopefully we can see a little bit more. I think Rafael Leao suits him. Maybe a João Felix, who's quite quick across the ground. But if you're giving him Bernardo Silva and Cristiano Ronaldo, I'm sorry, you ain't going to get. You're not going to get the best version of Bruno for me.
Yeah, and then moving on to, I mean, before we move away from Portugal, Dalot, I don't think he's seen any minutes yet. I'm just trying to rack my brain of how many players we've got in the World Cup.
He is one. You're right. Has he been benched in both? João Cancelo. Cancelo's been playing, right?
Yeah, he's been more of a cheerleader for Ronaldo more than anything. I mean, like you've said it earlier at the top of the show, I think is it a bit of a blessing that some of these players are going to get a rest before a grueling season because we've got way more games coming up for us now, or is it something where I mean, for me, and I'll move on to Brazil now with Cunha. It's been nice to see. Is it 3 goals he's got now in the World Cup now, Cunha? I think he's had since he's come on in that first game, and he's sort of just kicked on now. And I think it's really nice to see. And I think he went into the end of the season confident anyway because he was playing pretty well for us. But I think this is going to really boost him to see him doing the surfing dance in his celebrations. I think to bring that back with him to United, I know you'll probably be a bit tired, but to bring that back with him, I think that's only going to benefit us. How are you seeing it? How are you seeing his performances and what have you? And do you see that as a benefit that he's playing so well for us? Benefit for us when how he's playing for Brazil? Sorry.
Yeah, I think you know, Dan. Obviously, we've been speaking for ages, and we've done plenty of episodes on Cunha. And since January, I think his goal scoring has picked up a little bit under Ruben. I actually don't think he got the stats he deserved for his performances under Amorim.
No,
I think he played better than his stats suggested. I think he was 2 or 3 under Amorim and then 7 or 8 under Carrick. And I think that he's got a lot more to give. I think 10 league goals, I think he left a lot on the table, to be honest. And I'm absolutely chuffed. I think pace, power, the ability to win fouls, his hold-up play, his ability to shoot from distance. For me, he's just got to put it together and get that consistency, which I know you and Dave have spoke about with Cunha, where, you know, he goes through stretches where the shooting leaves him and it's like, and then he pops up at the end and bangs one in the bottom corner from 25, 27 yards, you know. So game 1, I was surprised. We were talking, weren't we, in the group chat about Igor Thiago starting over Cunha, and I was floored by that. And I'm sure he's amazing, right? Just goes to show you that the greats can make mistakes, because obviously we've not seen Thiago since. Cunha has 3 and 2, like you said. I think big thing looking forward for me, Dan, with Brazil, and depends how far they go. Can Cunha leave this tournament with 5 or 6 to his name, or is he going to leave with 3? And this is the thing with Cunha, where he doesn't seem to. He's more of a he scores goals in singles. He doesn't get many braces, and we've definitely not seen a hat trick from him. Can he get a couple in the round of 32 and the round of 16? And that's what's the difference between a 3-goal tournament and a 6. And I think with United, same thing, finish with 10 goals. If he got a few scrappy ones, do you think he scores good goals, Cunha? Every goal's good. He doesn't get many.
Yeah, this is it. He doesn't get tapping. No, he doesn't, does he? Because he's more of a, like you say, he'll score from a bit of distance, maybe.
Or the Henry, finishing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And my granddad used to say something to me about players, where he used to say, you get great goal scorers and you get scorers of great goals. And he's like, your scorers of great goals will be your 10, 11, 12 guys. Your great goal scorers will be your 18, 19, 20. And I want Cunha to bridge that gap now to, you score your goals, they're all quite good to watch, right? They're always that Henry finish or the worldie at Arsenal. I want some tap-ins, Dan. I want some scrappy goals or headers. He's not got many headers. So that's my challenge for Cunha. Can he leave this tournament with 6 goals? And like you said, come back to us in August. Obviously, he's going to get a couple of weeks off if they go deep. And I think it's a big season ahead for Cunha, Dan. What do you think?
Yeah, and I think just going off what you're saying there, I think just to obviously start with those scrappy goals for Brazil, but bring that back because, again, our team's going to look different in the new season. Obviously, Casemiro sort of got you those, if you want to call it scrappy goals here and there, but obviously your headers and stuff like that. I think we need someone that's got a bit more variation coming back in because, again, we don't know what we're going to get in the midfield. We're going to come on to transfers in a bit. But I think you're right there. If he can add that to his game, that just gives us a little bit more going forward. Because again, if we don't get an adequate sort of, I'm going to say replacement then for Sesko, backup for Sesko, we're going to struggle, I think. And it's purely because towards the end, it felt like Sesko was picking up a few injuries here and there. Maybe it's a bit of growing pains because he is still quite young, who knows? But we could just do with somebody that can come in and just sort of shore up some of the bits that we're going to miss from Casemiro. And maybe even Maguire, because he's been injured quite a bit as well, so he can get you something. So if we haven't got that, we need we need Cunha to sort of step up and give us something different, and Mbeumo obviously as well. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, I've liked his performances. I've been really happy for him. I've just seen it as he can bring that back to the squad, and it'll be just great for us at Manchester United, really. So I'm just going to really just quickly go on to a couple of comments we've got. So SJG, evening lads, evening to yourself. I think we've got David that's come in the chat there as well. If Portugal win it, it's because Bruno performed at the level he has been this season. Yeah, mate. Right. And to be fair, yeah, I mean, he is definitely going to be the spark if we're going to do anything. But like you were saying, Alex, though, we still need someone to be running on, and he is used to those quick people up front so that they can take advantage of his through balls and what have you. But yeah, I mean, what do you think of that comment before we move on from what David said?
I certainly agree. I do certainly agree that if Portugal are going to win it, I think they need their best player, offensive player, to play well. And Bruno is their best offensive player. I think football's about relationships, and until, put it this way, right, it's easier for Bruno to land a through ball over the top to Cunha than it is to Cristiano in a box full of crowded people. And I think in the knockouts particularly, Portugal are going to be faced with some low blocks, and it's going to be a lot of crosses to Ronaldo. And I think back to the Euros, and spoke to Dave about this when they had a 0-0 against Slovenia, went to a shootout 1-0 against France, played well in both, but it's the difficulty to create like he can at Man United because of the profiles he has ahead of him. But the guy's capable. I mean, he can strike a dead ball. You mentioned Casemiro, 10 league goals. Bruno can put a ball in the box. And Ronaldo, credit to the bloke, got 2 goals. And if Bruno can create for him, you've got to give Ronaldo
crosses. He's still got that leap. Ronaldo's still got that leap.
You can't rule. You know, I've been winding Dave up a bit, but you can't rule the guy out. And
now he's got that monkey off his back, and he's actually got a couple of goals. You just don't know, do you? You just don't know.
Exactly. I think. What do you think about maybe just the goal scoring side of Bruno? Do you think that's something that Portugal could look to? I know we've been used to the creating, but looking at their team, they've not in a tight game, the edge of the box shooting that we have been accustomed to in times with Bruno. Is that something he could deliver if the assists aren't there for him? You know, could we see a bit more goal scoring from Fernandes in this tournament? Because he scored 20 goals for us in a season before, Dan, you know, so that he can do that also. So I wonder if that's something that might come for Portugal if they do make a deep run. But yeah, look.
Yeah, and again, I think it's a little bit again on 2 fronts about how we've been playing and how Portugal have been playing. And I think there's a couple of things from a Manchester United perspective is he was very consumed with trying to get that assist record. So I think that's kind of overshadowed things a little bit. But I think also it's about feeding the quick players ahead of him. And he probably didn't have that the season before that. So going on to this again, it's all about feeding Ronaldo, I feel, at times. So it's almost like he's almost lost that scoring edge a little bit. I remember obviously the first sort of couple of seasons coming in, and he was getting labelled for someone that only scores penalties, Fernandes and all this sort of stuff. And you can never win, can you? Because end of the day, not everybody can score a penalty all the time. And he was, you know, he was really good from the spot, as we know. He might have missed 1 or 2 here and there, but he was you'd bank it. If we got a penalty, I always felt Bruno's going to score. So it was very rare that he missed for me. I was always confident he was going to score, generally speaking. So I think he just needs to get a bit more of that ruthless streak back where he's actually taking a few more shots.
No, I hear you.
And I think he did get knocked anyway, because was it, I'm sure it was when Klopp said that comment about we were getting too many penalties, and then the penalties dried up and it kind of impacted Bruno a little bit, because I think if you don't score in open play, but then you get a penalty and score, it gives you a bit of confidence again. And I think it works hand in hand, really. So, but yeah, I think to answer your question, I think Portugal would benefit definitely from Bruno just starting to pop up in the box here and there and get a shot off. I think that would be beneficial rather than sort of really heavily relying on Ronaldo all the time. And obviously,
I agree.
You know what we think about Martinez and how soft he is, and I've never rated the guy anyway, so that is that. Right then, so we're just going to move on now to transfers to a certain extent, but we're just going to talk about what we feel should come in before we actually look at what we're looking at. And obviously, transfers can get a bit boring when you don't feel like it's moving on. But for those people watching in the chat, put your comments in. What do you think? We're going to move on to now. What would you like to see? What do you think we should be really concentrating on? Obviously, we know about midfield, but is there any other areas that we feel we should be looking at to strengthen, ready for the new season, Alex?
I'm worried about the centre-back situation.
Right. So it's like you're reading my mind.
Brilliant. This is complete. We haven't spoken about this, by the way, to anybody watching.
No.
I clearly I've mentioned it and you've prepped the pictures. I mean, look, for me, we had a nice season schedule-wise. We played the 40 games, the minimum possible for a Premier League team to play. And we played 40 games and we came third and we played well towards the end of the season.
Can we trust these lot? But carry on, but can we trust these four?
I mean, 3 of these guys on the screen are injury prone and we can't trust them. And I'm well prepared for Lisandro Martinez to probably play 8 games for Argentina. He's played 2. He's looked really good. And then come back and probably get injured in September. And we won't see him till Jan. So I'm prepared for that. De Ligt, we spoke, vanished off the face of the earth. He's had back surgery now, which they put off. And then eventually did it, which I don't overly get. Back surgeries as bad of an injury as a centre-back as any athlete can have. I mean, Jesus, that's probably why they put it off for so long. Harry, look, he's revived himself to a little bit of I think United fans have got a bit of a soft spot for Harry, and I do appreciate that he has turned it round after the Ollie days when it was terrible.
Before you carry on, do you think he should have gone to the World Cup? Just really quickly.
Yes.
Yeah. No, yes. I agree.
I think Ezri Konsa showed you that the other night when he hauled himself in and should have got a red and a penalty. No, look, 100%. Look, Harry's got good leadership, and I think he will be missed in that dressing room for England. And I'm happy he stayed for another year. I think we need depth. Someone's got to play the games. 2 of them.
Niche fan.
Shout out, niche fan. 2 of them are injury prone. Luke Shaw had a good season. We have got Dorgu to rotate there, so I'm okay with Shaw and Dorgu. The centre backs, I've got an issue, Dan, availability and quality. Availability with Martinez and De Ligt, and quality with Maguire and Yoro and Heaven. I feel a bit harsh saying Heaven, but let's just say Yoro for argument's sake. Yoro, for me, what an opportunity for you to come into the season. I don't think United are going to invest centre-back wise because of the midfield, like you touched on, and they're maybe thinking about a left winger as well. So this is the centre-backs. Yoro, you're going to get Champions League games, mate. You're going to get FA Cup, Carabao. You're going to get the odd league game. Spend the summer in the gym, working out, improve, come back a better player. And I think it's a massive opportunity for Yoro and Heaven, in fairness, because there's question marks on these lot, Dan, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's space for them, isn't there, in terms of, again, any one of these can get injured at any time. The chance can be there for Heaven or Yoro. And obviously, I've always made the comments that I think there's something in Yoro is not sort of helping me out very much with his performances. But Heaven, I sort of started to change my mind on Heaven. And I think there's an opening up for Heaven. And I could see him doing pretty well with either Maguire or De Ligt. So, but there's definitely an opening there for him. But just lastly, before I'll let you come back in, is that I feel we need to at least bring one centre back in. I'm not sure we're going to do it. because there's other areas that we might need to focus on a bit more, and money's tight. But especially with the inflated costs of some of these players as well. But I'd like to see another centre back come in because of not trusting these four. Really, well, no.
I totally agree. I mean, I can't shake the feeling that we're in that position where we're a decent side, but we need that Van Dijk signing that Liverpool nailed, and it went from them being fourth. They were a heavy metal fourth place team under Jurgen Klopp. The day that he signed in January, they went to a contender overnight. And I still think, and I know it's sort of pointless because we know Ineos are not going to go and buy a marquee centre back. And in fairness, there isn't a prime Virgil van Dijk on the market. So I'm not saying, it's not an easy equation to solve, really.
But this is where the scouting needs to come in, and Chris Vervel, that's there. You've got to start trusting Vervel a bit more when it comes to stuff like that, and really quickly. You've touched on it there. You've got to have the spine. So if we're saying that Sesko's our number 9, that's fine. We're after someone in the centre, not doing so well so far, and we'll come on to that. And then just having someone really strong in a leadership in the back line and having that core spine is going to help us, especially where we want to go in terms of our ambitions. But carry on. Sorry.
No, I echo everything you've said. And like I said, I think a top class centre back. I just don't think you can challenge for league titles without top class centre back, and I don't believe we've got one. We were hoping that might be De Ligt. I just feel he's crocked. Is my gut instinct, combined with the fact Bayern sold him cheap in this era. Did they see this physical issue with De Ligt?
Yeah, potentially.
So look, I know it's not going to happen, but yes, we conceded 50 goals last year, Dan, in the league. You ain't winning. You ain't getting in a title race conceding that many. Arsenal conceded 27. So we are conceding twice the amount of Arsenal did. And that's the proof in the pudding, because they scored 2 more goals than us, but we conceded 18 more. So that's the issue for me. But maybe this time next year we have sorted the midfield. With the attack, we hope is sorted as we speak. And then it's the Van Dijk signing that not Virgil, but you know what I mean. The principle.
I know what you mean.
Not Virgil on a free. Although fuck me, it'd probably be all right actually. So that I think we've got to sort the midfield from a body's perspective. We've got Kobbie Mainoo at the club and Edison. So look, the left wing is interesting. We spoke about Summerville in the group chat. You might want to go to him, touch on him as well, Dan. But I'd love a top class centre back. It relaxes you. We've been there with Vidic, Rio, Stam. We've had the greats, and now it's like we're conceding 50 goals a season.
We've always had that when we've won, haven't we? We've always had it.
I think you need it.
We've not had it for a long time, and we definitely need it. So just going to read this quickly from Niche Fan, and thank you for your comments again, Niche Fan, and coming back in. We've been sold a pack of lies by Ineos. Anderson gone. So Anderson will be going to City, no doubt. Tonali probably going to Spurs. Fernandes, we're going to come on to that in a second. And then obviously Sanderberg could be an option. Just quickly before we touch on going on to the midfield, how are you feeling about? Do you trust Ineos? Just really quickly.
I mean, look, we've been happy, haven't we, with the last summer.
I don't think it was a bad summer last summer.
4 out of 4, really. And for the way we've gone post-Fergie, we rarely hit 1 out of 4. So I was happy with that summer. But at the same time,
what about the not willing to overpay thing? How are you feeling about that?
It is tricky, isn't it? Because just a bit of a side note, do you think this is the first summer for a bit where you've really been rocked by the price of players? I know Neymar 200 million blew the market up, didn't it? And you had Pogba 90 million, Lukaku went for 75. But in my opinion, it sort of stabilized again, and it's been like 80, 90 world class.
You can't sustain Neymar figures. You can't sustain them.
But this is the first summer for a bit where I felt, oh my God, your good players are now 85, 90. Your Tonali, Fernandes, Niche Fans mentioned that. And for me, if in the summer, going into the summer, I was thinking Fernandes, Tonali are in your 65, 70 range. It's looking like 85, 90. it might be a shift in what we deem as, I still see 50 million as a lot, Dan. So when Ederson comes in for 40 million, I'm trying to recalibrate as it is. What do you think about the fees? Do you think there's been a shift now that 90 million is a good player and not a world-class player?
This is a thing as well, because I'm not sure about Fernandes. I'm going to come on to that.
Okay.
And I'll just sort of put this up as we're speaking. Yeah, so as Ben Jacobs was saying today on the United Stand, it's expected that there'll be a decision made very soon in regards to where he wants to go. I think he's keeping his options open. And I think in regards to West Ham wanting 85 million starting and then wanting a bidding war for him to go upwards of that, it's like, I can't get my head around that, because he's not on the... I mean, he could be, but right now, in terms of his stock's not as high as Anderson's. And obviously, Forest want, excess of 100 million for Anderson. In terms of his stock, in terms of the fact that he has been relegated twice, is it in a row as well? It is very overpriced to get to 85 million. I think I started off by saying I'd be happy to pay sort of 50, 60. It kind of went up as I felt a little bit desperate. I think this sort of happens with fans anyway. When you see certain players like Anderson slip through your fingers, Tchouameni would be nice, but is that possible? Yeah. So when these players sort of disappear, you start to come back down to earth and thinking, actually, if we don't pay this figure for him, we could end up with Sanderberg, as a niche fan said, and that's like a horror sort of version of events for me. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. But it's a weird period, like you're saying. It's a weird period where I wouldn't want to spend 50 million on Summerville. I wouldn't want to spend 85 million plus on this guy. Even if you said 60 plus 10 or 60 plus 20, it's steep, that. And I just don't know what's going on at the minute. And maybe it's just that I think what's probably happened is the selling clubs really know that there's a lot of clubs wanting midfielders this time round, and there isn't a lot to go at either, if you're really honest, because we need a 6, don't we? We need a really strong 6 that's an established 6 that you can sort of hang your hat on. That is what Casemiro should have been, in a sense, or what Casemiro sort of was in his first season. So none of these players that we're linked with, in my opinion, are a 6 either. And that's my other issue with it. Now, we could develop as one. I was sort of saying to David that we might look at maybe doing 2 8s and like a double pivot. One goes, one sits, the other one goes, the other one sits, and doing it that way, because I just don't think there really is a 6 out there. But yeah, in terms of the prices, they are just mental. And really, from niche fan, completely agree that we need a centre back and also need a left back. And again, I think we will not argue with that. Really? There was sort of links with Lewis Hall, but then that's been rubbished. Apparently, Manchester United don't know where them sort of rumours are coming from, so it doesn't look like we're in for Lewis Hall. I think if he was available, though, I think we'd put our hat in the ring. But again, Lewis Hall, £70 million was sort of like the figure we're thinking about for a left back. Is he that good?
Well, no, he's not. Well, this is the thing. Like, me and you I think we're fairly aligned on what we expect players to be valued at. But have we got to really adjust our brain and think like, okay, in my head, I'm still in the world class gets you 85 mil gets you world class. Pogba was at 90 million. I think that's where I'm still at, and I've got to try and move my head along. And I think Ineos went into the summer with, I think I heard, it might have been Andy Mitten say this, that Ineos had in mind a 40 mil midfielder, Ederson, back up. So they've got that. Fair, they'll be happy with that. Hence why they've done the deal. 60 million, which I think they think was Fernandes, guy on the screen. And then 80, 85 is your marquee guy, is your Tchouameni or whoever. That's what I think Ineos had in mind. And in reality, Dan, it could be 40 million Ederson, 85 mil, you're good, Matheus Fernandes, and 100 plus for Tchouameni. And I think, do Ineos adapt? Do they go with the valuations? Like you said, niche fan, they're losing players to Spurs. Spurs are paying these fees, mate.
But we're losing. We're going to lose the player not because it's Spurs, but because Spurs are prepared to pay it, and because they're going quite aggressive. They must have got scared by that teetering with relegation. They don't want to go there again.
Shit 'em
De
up
Zerbi, it must have done. And De Zerbi will be really at them saying, get me what I need to turn this around. And I think with Daniel Levy going as well, it's opened up the purse strings. So we are going to lose out. And the thing is, if we don't do this, and obviously I know we've still got Fernandes on the screen there. I'm not saying we're dropping down to Scott, but Baleba is sort of waiting there in the wings saying, have a look at me, and sort of, fluttering his eyebrows, sort of his eyelashes and we know we've got Baleba where we need him to be. He's waiting there in the wings if we need it. But what I'm trying to say is that our options are starting to dwindle. If we don't get Fernandes, who we're now claiming as our second choice after Anderson, it's looking, Bournemouth aren't looking to sell Scott. They're trying to get him on a new contract if they can, and maybe sort of do a sweetener like they did with Semenyo and say, stay with us another season or stay with us till January. We'll let you go then. So if he's off the table, Fernandes is off the table. We've also got to appreciate that if Spurs end up with Tonali and Fernandes, when we line up against Spurs, and this is just Spurs, not Arsenal, not City, not Liverpool, when we line up against Spurs, they've got two of the players that we should be buying. So
I agree.
Like,
I like
Tonali, what we've got left after Fernandes. What are you thinking about what we're going to drop to?
You're right. Have they got? If you're not going to adjust your thinking, when I say you, I mean Ineos, if you're not going to adjust your thinking to what people are worth, look, a player is worth how much someone's willing to pay. So if Tottenham are willing to pay 90 million for Tonali, he's worth 90 million. And if they're willing to pay 85 for this guy, he's worth 85 million. That's how it works. Yeah. If Ineos, like you said, you can keep digging your heels in. You're going from, like you said, the top bracket, Fernandes, Tonali, Tchouameni, down to Scott, down to Sander Berger. Then what's the next one? And there's only so many midfielders out there that you can actually go and identify. If they've got a list of 5, you're probably looking at 3 of them on the screen now. And I think Scott's had a really good season. I thought he was class at Arsenal when they beat Arsenal 2-1 in the running and shit them up for a week or two. I thought Scott was fantastic. Yeah. But
starting figure 70 million for Scott as well. Starting figure roughly.
Do you think, Dan, that, like, looking back in the day, and I don't want to sound old here, but when we went and poached like Rooney from Everton, for 25 million, and they needed the money, they needed the cash. We've got a deal. Yes, we love Wayne. He's a prized asset. He's got to go. We can invest that money, and they did really well with that cash from Rooney. Do you think now that teams don't need money anymore, so they'll just slap a ridiculous?
No, they don't.
West Ham have been relegated, and they're going 85. We'll just keep him and come straight back up. And it's gone are the days of your Fergie sitting down with David Moyes going, "We're having Rooney."
What the problem is, though, Alex, is that when you look at the other leagues, the balloon payment that some of these clubs get when they get relegated is more than the winning payment that Serie A got, for example, whoever won that. So whether it's be one of the Milan clubs or Napoli or whatever who wins that, their prize fee is way lower. So these clubs don't need the money anymore. Now, you're hearing today that I don't think they're new, but you've got some investors that are linked to West Ham that are now coming to the fore after what's-his-face is being disgraced and leaving. And they're putting in a £90 million cash injection. So this money that they needed a few days ago, they no longer need now. So they're in a strong position now. So a lot of these clubs have got a lot of money coming in through the Premier League and everything else that's happening, advertisement rights and everything else. So they can't be held to ransom like before. And we were thinking, and maybe I'm going to say I'm saying Manchester United, quite strangely saying, oh, well, they've been relegated. So, me as a fan, I'm thinking, relegated, they can't command these fees. They've been relegated. But like you've just said there, Alex, they don't need the money. This is the problem. So it's like now, if they've got an asset there that they'd love to keep in the Championship and try and get back up. They'd love to keep Bowen. They'd love to keep this guy and come straight back up. So they're not going to just sell him willy-nilly. They're going to hold out. And obviously, like they've said, we'll start at 85 million, see who else comes in, PSG, Spurs, whoever else, and we'll try and raise you. And I just think it's just got out of hand. And again, with Scott, 70 million, this guy, 85 million. who knows what Balaba's at, because they were looking at turning down 75, 80 million for him last season. He's had a poor season this season, but Brighton are shrewd. So you just don't know what you're going to have to pay for these players. And have we got enough to buy all these players or buy all the players that we need for the positions that we need? I think we're going to run out of money if we start throwing money like this, silly money at Fernandes. So just quickly, just catch up on some comments. Christian, evening, Christian. Nice to see you. Niche fan again. What are you saying here? Was it? We're not even inquiring about Hall. Yeah, again, I think it's more because Newcastle, again, they're the richest club. They're the richest club probably in the world, in a sense. It's just that they can't spend, but they also don't need the money. They only sort of spend to try and get another player, in a sense, because obviously with PSR and all that sort of stuff, they're a little bit hamstrung, aren't they? But they don't need to sell Hall. And Hall's still quite a young player. They're probably going to be a bit stung after Anderson, because Anderson started at Newcastle. He's gone to Forest. Look how much he's worth now. They can't keep selling their their young players that turn into stars. And I think I see a player in Lewis Hall. So I think that's probably why. I mean, how do you feel about the comment there? I mean, we should be inquiring about it, though, shouldn't we? Really?
I think that's the thing of like, Ineos, like you are going to run out of targets at some point if you don't move with the market. And I do worry if they think that the value isn't there. But if everybody else,
what about their sort of philosophy about them wanting the players to really be invested in Manchester United and want to come and be their first choice? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit disappointed that Fernandes is flirting with Tottenham when it seems like.
But do you blame him though? Because if we don't pull our finger out, he gets stuck at West Ham in the Championship. So that's how I'm kind of seeing it. But I get your point. But that's how I'm seeing it, really.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, if you're not going to pay it, then you are going to start turning your head and going, okay, well, Tottenham are they're in the Prem. But I am a little bit where it's like Cunha and Mbumo circled United when we just come 15th, and I think there is an element of that. But that's the thing for me. If you're going to pay 85 for Fernandes, do you just try and get Tchouameni for whatever it costs? Is it 105, 110? He is more of a 6 profile than Fernandes, and you compare him with Amenu and Edison, and that's where I'm at with that. So, do you go full marquee? I don't know.
I think we. You don't want to go marquee in every position. I don't think that's possible anyway in terms of finances. However, I think we really do need to bring in someone that's a name. I think Tchouameni, if we were getting Tchouameni, I think people like Mano's thinking, he's getting excited. He's thinking, I'm going to up my game. I think Bruno's getting excited about that because he's thinking, you know what? I can be a little bit more disciplined, a bit further forward on the pitch because he's got Tchouameni sat behind me. So I think it just lifts everything. And I think he's got that Real Madrid aura, a bit like with Casemiro coming in. He's still young enough because, again, we've been known for getting players the wrong side of the age sort of range. So I think we do need to bring a marquee in that middle, really do, because I still say that we haven't really replaced Carrick. I know Casemiro came in and did a bit of a job, but we haven't really replaced Carrick, to be honest with you. So really need a name that can be a mainstay for at least the next sort of 3 or 4 years at least, and then do a bit of succession planning, because that's one thing we don't really do at Manchester United, from my opinion anyways, that succession plan. And that's why a Lewis Hall would be good to just edge Shaw out the way a little bit, especially be someone that comes into the side more regularly, going into his second season sort of thing. But I just think he needs to be pushed with a player coming through. So yeah, definitely. Just reading, just catch up on some comments as well. So Christian saying, Anderson going for 130. What on earth would a young breakout Rooney go for? And you mentioned Rooney earlier, and I think at the time it probably felt like we overpaid for Rooney, but look what we got back from that. We overpaid on Rio Ferdinand, but look what we got back from that. We got a player that came in and sorted out our back line. We got a Rooney that played for many years, doing all sorts, playing from a striker, number 10, could even play midfield. He could play right back and in goals, Rooney. So we definitely got our money back in terms of winning cups and stuff like that. So sometimes, for me, you've got to... I know that I don't like the way that the figures are going, and it's not so much that I don't like the way the figures are going, because I think if these figures were for your Tchouamenis and your Tenalis and those top end players, you wouldn't mind so much paying over the odds for players like that. But I think it's when you go into that mid-level, but these mid-level players, or these players that haven't quite shown you what they're about yet. Because let's be honest, going back to Fernandes, he's still got loads of room to grow.
Yeah,
he could go anyway in terms of his career yet. We haven't really seen him properly. And obviously finishing off in West Ham and being relegated, it's not much to look at really. So for a play like that, shouldn't be going for those figures. And again, we know we've talked about that already. And that's what the issue is for me. But yeah, you're right, Christian. I think if there was a Rooney now, Jesus, I don't know what he'd be going for right now with the sums that we're seeing for some of these players. Because even Anderson, just really quickly on Anderson, I don't know about Anderson yet. I'm not sure about him. And it'll be interesting to see when City do buy him, what he looks like. I'm not sure because it's not Rodri, is it? It's not Rodri.
He's not. And I thought as well, the low block of Ghana was really difficult for him the other night. And I think the combination of him and Rice, I mean, that's a separate issue. But if him and Rice are playing in a low block together, you know, they're not unlocking. They've not got that intricacy around the box, and it's Elliot Anderson isn't really a strike me as he's going to unlock a low block. City face a lot of low blocks. They're talking about 130 mil. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be interesting, like you said.
Yeah. And just catch up on a few more comments. We've got Belabor could come in, and then obviously if Spurs were to get our targets, what a joke that would be. And I do agree with you there. We can't be letting Spurs get our targets, because end of the day, we're trying to catch the likes of, well, Liverpool was behind us this time round, but we're trying to catch the likes of City and Arsenal, and we've really got to be pushing on with trying to bridge that gap. And I think if we start losing out on our 1 and 2 and maybe even 3 targets, how are we ever going to catch up to Arsenal? Because I'm sure Arsenal will spend again. Not really seeing who they're in for per se, but I'm sure they'll spend again and get some further players that they may need. So we really need to be clever in the market for me. And again, I understand that they're scarred, because a few journalists have been saying it now. They're scarred from the days of Ed Woodward and stuff like that, and overpaying for players. But for me, and I would probably agree with some other content creators, is that we can't just say we've been hurt before in the past, so let's not do it again. I think if you scout right, because apparently we're doing the scouting much better this time round. We've got people like Chris Favell in there as well. I think we need to be really scouting properly and really trusting our scouting team. What else we got here? What message does this penny pinching centre top players who are considering us? And it screams a lack of ambition. And yeah, Nishvan, I think you've got a good point there in terms of that ambition. And I think we're in a situation now where we're trying to get to that next sort of gear now. And obviously there's that project, I can't remember the name that they call it, but Barada talks about quite a lot and wanting to win the league in the next couple of seasons or so. Yeah. How are we going to do that if we don't go big and ambitious? We're not going to do it with just bit part players, those mid players. Yes, we need to build a team, I get it, and we can't all be about stars, and it has to be a gelling. But I think as well, we've got to give Carrick the best start, because, again, we don't know what we're going to get from Carrick. And as I've said before, it's coming with very little pressure. It's now his job now. It's now, Carrick, it's over to you. What can you do? He's talked about playing a different style of play and having the ball a bit more now, and that's going to be a bit of a change. We know what happened when Ten Hag tried to change things to his normal philosophy. That didn't go well. Amarin tried it from the start and never changed. That didn't go well. Carrick's come in, utilised the players to their best abilities, counter-attacked, you name it. Now, apparently, is wanting to play sort of pretty football, keep the ball a bit more, increase that possession. So we've really got to give him the players if we're going to go down that line. How are you feeling about that in terms of our start? Yeah.
Do you think that it shows a little bit of they're not fully confident in the person they want, because you're penny pinching over a player and then almost willing to lose him to Tottenham? To me, that says you're you know, and look, let's face it. Yes, they did well last summer. They were a hair away from signing Delap for 35 million, and he picked Chelsea and let them off the hook. They nearly went for Belieber at the last minute. Do you remember when they were flirting with him? And he had a poor season. So, is that a bit of concern with Ineos where they're not all in on their targets? Because, like I think you said it, Niche fan said it, my brother said it. If you want your guy 70, 85 million, you're splitting hairs, you go and get him. And is it a bit of a confidence thing with them where they're like, is Fernandes definitely the partner for Mainu? And is there enough locks out there? You mentioned, Dan, about your Carricks and your Rooneys of the past where we'll have him for 20 mil. We know he's the guy. Rio Ferdinand at Leeds, we'll have him. Is it that? And is Tchouameni? I really like Tchouameni, and I think he is more of a 6, and I think he's easier to partner as well in there. He would be marquee money as well. We're talking he's Real Madrid 26-year-old DM who's played over 100 games for Real. He's played a World Cup final for France. Might be on for another one the way they're playing this tournament. But do you just go balls to it and go and pay the 105 for him instead of 80 for Fernandes if you're unsure? Where do you land on that?
Because you've got to get a banker in that midfield for me. You've got to get to banker. You've got to get someone that's going to really complement. Because we all know, don't matter what we think about Mainu, I really like him. I know David's not a big fan of him. I'm not sure where you sit with him, but we really do need a strong player at the side of him. And we all know that he's not a 6 himself. He might be able to take the ball off the back 4 and progress it, but from the defensive capabilities, and I do agree with what David says here and there in terms of his mobility to a certain extent, but we really need someone that's going to be able to cover that ground and do you really know the 6th role.
Yeah, I completely hear you on that and the off the ball. I do think the off the ball, because Amorim obviously sort of started this really, and it took off that he can't play in the 2. Do you think... I think he's not that bad off the ball. Like for a guy who uses it as well as he does. Yeah,
I think he's improved.
Let's think about this. I think you agree with me on Casemiro. I think we were happy with his contributions, mainly in the 2 penalty boxes. But we won 12 out of 17 games under Carrick with Kobbie Mainu in a midfield 2, with a guy that we've basically let go for nothing. He also, in game 1 for Brazil, looked appalling. Casemiro. And I know United fans wanted one more year. I think you might have mentioned it. That Morocco game, well, that was your eye-opener. That's why he didn't get one more year. And I'm looking at Mainu and going, okay, so he's shit off the... Like, I'm just going with the haters here. He's shit off the ball. You know, he needs a Kante next to him. Well, we won 12 out of 17 with Casemiro next to him. So if you give a Tchouameni to a Mainu, I'm looking at that thinking, I like that. I even thought Mainu should be playing for England, watching them against that low volume. And I don't know what you think about that. But he's the guy, he can create angles for people, the 1-2s. Anderson and Rice get it and they bang it to the wingers, don't they? That's the style of midfielder they are. I like the Mainu style. I don't think it's as hard as some people say to find a partner for him. People just keep saying he needs Kante. I'm not having that. Personally, and I think you agree, don't you? I don't think it's I don't think it's that level. I know there isn't a Kante, is there? So
no, there isn't. That's the problem. And again, going back to we talked about strikers, there's not many strikers out there anymore. There isn't that many 6s either. When you think,
what
about
do you think of Tchouameni, Dan? Would you do it? I know that you've got 110 million.
Yeah,
would you do Tchouameni?
Yeah,
look, obviously, if he's available.
Of course. I like niche fans saying there. There's no way that if Tchouameni is available, that it'll just be us that's after him. And I think you're right. I think if Tchouameni comes available, I'm sure maybe a Liverpool might look at him. PSG might look at him potentially. I know they like the tiki-taka a little bit more than anything, but I don't think we'll be the only sort of dog in this race sort of thing. But
Glass
yes, in terms of
Varane and Casemiro have spoke so highly of.
And if he's thinking about it and he's inquired about that and sort of asked what's so good about Manchester United, what made you go, and all this sort of stuff, it could be leaning. But yeah, would I do it? I think so. I think again, is he up there with the top 6s that we've seen in the last 10 years? Probably not. But then at the same time, there isn't a Rodri out there that to my knowledge.
No.
Obviously, there's. I wasn't going to mention him, but now I'm thinking about it, is Boade. I know he's only 18 though. A lot of sort of clubs are sort of sniffing around him, but again, you want someone that's got that experience, that know-how, that winning mentality as well. That's another thing that we need to think about, is bringing in winning mentality. Someone that's won things. I know Real Madrid are being a bit sort of up and down and stuff like that, but there is still a mentality there that is coming from. So I'd do it definitely. I'm just going to catch up on a few more things there. So
I also think that the Valverde thing, I just don't see how they resolve that. Valverde, they're going to keep Valverde. He's the club captain, or he's
badly injured by Tchouameni, wasn't he? Really, so hospitalised.
Did you see the snapshot? You know, they all did the little pose for the World Cup, the players, and he was doing one for Uruguay, Valverde, and he's got a scar on his forehead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's serious stuff.
So he did do him in massively, and to be fair, I quite like that about him as well, really. Tchouameni. So look how they resolve that. Yeah, and look, you've got Jose Mourinho at the helm and two midfielders that had a scrap a month ago. I mean, that is.
I'm surprised actually that Mourinho don't want to keep him. If that's true,
I'm surprised. I'm so shocked at that.
He feels like a Mourinho player, doesn't he? Really, when you think about that sort of peak Chelsea, he feels like a Mourinho player.
I totally agree. But he wants Enzo, doesn't he?
He wants Enzo. Yeah, they're desperate for Enzo, and they need to make a sale to get Enzo,
Rodri.
don't they? Yeah,
sure. No, I agree.
And what Niche fan's saying here, we should have got Tonali again. I'd have Tonali. I think it's just again. I did worry about the whole sort of betting thing. I think I assume he's been fine since he's come back. Again, I think we're put off by his salary. So that's another thing we always forget about as well, is the fee that we're going to pay for a player is high, but with Fernandes, we believe that it's quite a low salary. When you think about it, Edison's on quite a low salary apparently as well. Yeah. But whereas Anderson, if we're led to believe, he'd want 200,000 maybe. Tchouameni probably the same, sort of that higher end. So I think with Tonali was meant to be the same, where his agent fees are going to be high, his actual transfer fee was going to be pretty high, and like I say, his salary as well. But would you have had Tonali really quickly?
Yeah, I think me and you, Dave, did a show a while ago on him and Bruno Guimaraes, and I think you two were leaning on Bruno. Admittedly, Bruno is a bit of a adopted too now, isn't he? Geordie, I think he's a bit of a Geordie at heart now. Bruno Guimaraes. I like Tonali from the power and the physicality, what he brings, and I think United have missed that massively. We got Casemiro past his athletic best. We've got Kobbie Mainoo, whose athleticism is not his number one trait, and Fernandes and Edison. I've not seen enough of Edison, in fairness. He looks like he might be able to get around the pitch, but Tonali, he's a Prem player, and I like that. So I would have done it, but 90 million terrifies me for Tonali.
Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely terrifies me.
I think his preferred option would be to go back to Italy. I think he's a bit homesick, but that is a lot of money. I like the player. I'm trying to, but it is a lot of money. And Le Mans saying here, I think he's sort of picking up on some comments from earlier. Anderson's supposed to unlock low blocks. Thought he was supposed to make tackles and break play. And maybe I was wrong. But again, I think we were sort of talking about that game in particular. I don't think, again, I'm not sure if Anderson's a 6 per se either. I think there's a lot of 8s knocking around, or a lot of almost that sort of, if you remember back in the day, sort of like central midfield, where even like Roy Keane wasn't really a 6 at first. He was a bit more all action in his early days. Scholes isn't a 6. Carrick, you could probably say was a 6. You could say from day one in a sense, but it was still a more of a playmaker 6 though, if anything, because he was doing that quarterback stuff. He was a really good passer, could spray the ball around. So I see where you're coming from, Lemam, but I think we've still got a point in what Alex was saying earlier about unlocking the defences. I think Anderson did struggle in that last game for England, so that was more our point. Yes, we do want someone that does break up play, but at the same time, I think in the modern game, though, when you think about, again, even going back to Rodri, I've got to say I really love Rodri. I know he's coming towards the end of things probably now at City and what have you, but is a 6, but he can still pass the ball. He can still start plays. He can still take the ball off the back 4 and stuff like that. So I think that's what you need from your modern players now anyway.
I think you're right. I think that Rodri, Carrick, Busquets player type profile is leaving the game, or at least none are coming through that I can see, and that's why Sander Berger's getting mentioned.
We used to call them registers.
I like that.
They're not bruisers, especially the ones that play on the continent. They're not bruisers. They just close off space well, and they do the night. They don't have to tackle and do the last ditch thing and raise their sort of studs down someone's calves. It's just smart play. Being in the right places and passing the ball and all that sort of stuff, and using the brain.
They never look like they have to sprint or make a slide tackle. How many slide tackles have Busquets, Carrick, and Rodri made in their careers? That's because they read it that well. I think Anderson, I can't shake this thing that I read on social media or I listened to it on someone's podcast. Anderson and Rice, they play football with one golf club. And every single pass is a thud. They don't wait. And when you see a Rodri and he can break the lines, sometimes you've got to put a bit of snap on it. Sometimes you've got to play it in front of someone. Anderson and Rice, for me, and I don't want to just home in on the Ghana game, but it did highlight things for me with the pair of them where they get it and they bang it to the wingers. And that's their game. There's not that. They can't pick locks for me. And look, we're going to see him at City, right? And City play low blocks. And England play low blocks, so we might have another one. It might be DR Congo in the round of 32, Dan. And I'm interested to see if Mainu in that midfield for England.
Well,
or Anderson and Rice going to be against a brick wall again, like they were the other night.
There is rumours that Mainu might play the next game, so we'll have to see. But
against Panama.
I
know my opinion. I would have him in there, to be honest, because I think
I just see it as when he comes in though, Alex, he'll stay in. Is how I'm seeing it, but we'll see.
Well, he did for Southgate, didn't he? He came in for that last group game, and we got to the final. I think that Rice Anderson is a clone. I know we've gotten to the World Cup here, but I'm interested to see Anderson at City, and they're a good side. City, they've got some technical players. England haven't, so maybe that balance of we've got Anderson who's the destroyer, and we've still got a little bit of technical players like a Cherki and a Foden. So it's the balancing it down. But
of course it is.
For me, I think England-wise, I think you are seeing the limitations of Rice as well. Chuck Rice in there, he gets away with it, man. He's like a number 8, apparently. As a number 8, does he create enough?
This is the thing. And again, I'm struggling sometimes with some of these midfielders. I know it's our fault putting numbers on players again, and maybe we're slowly going away from that, maybe because there isn't loads of number 10s anymore. I don't think.
No,
there's not loads of number 9s. There isn't loads of number 6s. So maybe we need to sort of veer away from that, maybe as well. But in terms of Rice, again, I think he gets overhyped. Feels harsh. But I just don't know if he's as good as Arsenal fans make out. I don't know.
He's another one to your point. He was meant to be a DM, wasn't he? And now he's an 8. And
this is it. And apparently they were saying that, because I think it was starting to come to the fore towards the end of his time at West Ham, is that, he's more than a 6. He can go forward. He can score goals. He can create. And then you do get that bit of confusion then, because that's when then they brought in an extra player there for Arsenal, didn't they? Zubamendi, and I think the idea there was for Zubamendi to be the orchestrator, be that register, and let sort of Rice bomb on a little bit. And obviously after them 2 free kicks he did, it was like, look at Rice, look what he can do going forward. So a strange one, really. Yeah,
I agree. Really, I think it's the same principle on Zubamendi coming in to release Rice. Anderson's come in to release Rice. I'm looking at the Arsenal were crap to watch offensively. England the other night were terrible. So maybe it's harsh on Anderson. Maybe it's Rice we need to look at as that number 8. And I hate Arsenal, so we'll pile in on that.
I'm going to quickly flash this up before going on to more comments in the chat.
Sure,
just another option. I don't know how legitimate this is, but it's just something that's been banding around today. How he pronounce his name? Nemeka. How he pronounce his name? But German international. I've seen a couple of performances from him recently. Looks okay. Again, if this is a Chris Favell thing, do you trust Chris Favell? I've said at the top of the show we should trust him a bit more. So could be an option. Again, I don't know what he's playing as. Again, looking at FootMob really quickly, he's kind of done the 6 role a little bit, but then he's kind of done the 8 role a little bit. So
another
again,
one,
it's not really
what
a
you were saying.
defined 6. It's not really a defined 6 or defined anything really. I don't know if you know much about him before we move on though.
It's strange. Look, I ain't watched Dortmund. I'll give you that much. But I watched the second half of the Ivory Coast game, Germany, and he played. I think he got an assist actually.
Is he the one that fired it in to Undav for that second goal?
I think he did. And I mean, look, it was a good pass, but it wasn't. I'm not saying that makes him a great player, by the way, but I'm just saying I thought he was quite good. And like you said, again, he is in your bit of an all-rounder. I don't want to say master of none, but so. It's interesting that's come up, and I think you're going to see a few. You have Bouhaddi for Morocco, which was the flavour of the week last week, and now Micha maybe.
This guy's coming through now,
Let's see how Germany progress. I think they're playing. They've got another game tonight, haven't they? So I might keep an eye on him actually.
It's one to keep an eye on, definitely. So let's catch up with a few more chats now. So Niche fans saying here about if City might pivot to Tchouameni. I mean, again, potentially, if he's really someone that comes available, if they haven't wrapped up the Anderson deal yet, and if Tchouameni, dare I say, is cheaper than Anderson, who knows? Because again, Forest are not easy to deal with the big lad in charge there, who scares his players and stops them from doing transfers in the first place. So it's not an easy sort of thing to do with them. And as Luman's saying here, Niche fan, just have a bit of patience. We'll get a perfect CDM in Tchouameni. So again, that's just dependent on whether Tchouameni wants to come and there's not much competition. Because one thing United would want Tchouameni to do is say that he only wants United and United only. Max 80 million for Tchouameni, 250k per week. Again, we might.
Days are gone.
I'm not sure if we get him for that really, unless Real Madrid are really desperate to get rid of him to get this.
This is your adjustment, Dan. This and Luman there. This is your adjustment summer. This is your. I'm telling you, this after this summer, you will never see a top player going for 80 million again. It's 80 million now. Is your 7 out of 10 players, not your 8 and 9 out of 10s.
Sad, isn't it? Who wants to play in the Champions League for a club that has no bollocks to try and go win it? And there's elements of what you're saying there. That's correct. As it stands, and again, I'm hoping that Ineos just surprises or get lucky again, because there's a couple of things you mentioned earlier, Alex, about the luck, where we've gone after a certain player and it's not panned out, but then we've ended up with a better player maybe down the line. We need a bit of that happening again. But we really do need to be showing our ambition, I feel, because, again, back in Champions League, we want to stay in the Champions League, but we also want to go a step further and try and win the league, don't we? We have overpaid in the past, and we won't overpay now in the future. And, again, it's because what I was saying earlier, Luman, you might have missed it, is they're saying they've been scarred. They've let this out there to the journalists, because more than one journalist is saying that credible journalists, that they are feeling really scarred from the overpaying of other players in the past. Like Sancho was one of the more recent ones where he's gone on the free. I'm starting to feel that maybe even, I know he's not a signing, but Rashford might go on a free as well, where you've got that money that you could have got for him. So they are scarred because, as you'll know yourself, Alex, we've not been good at selling players. Look at Chelsea sometimes. They can buy a player that you've never heard of, still never heard of him because he's only played a couple of games, but still get some good money for him. I don't understand that. City are the same. They can sell players for decent money as well, and we're really poor at it. Liverpool can do it as well. I remember a couple of their young players that they sold for crazy money. I can't remember his name now, but they sold a young player for like 20, 30 million. I thought he played like one game, I think, for Liverpool. So why can't we sell players? And it's really holding us back, that. Because, again, we've got players that are on crazy money like Sancho was, and nobody wants them. That's the problem. I mean, I'm going to quickly flash this up. We still can't get rid of this guy. He's going out on loan again. And we don't know the details of it. We don't know whether there's going to be a clause there that makes them buy him. at the end of it. But as it stands, the early reports are he's going back on loan again. And some of it's
I'm surprised he's even going on loan. I don't
know why they like him, but I'm glad they like him. But I just don't know why they like him.
At least he's just not at Carrington.
Keep him.
Yeah, honestly, you can have him for free. Honestly,
exactly. I would let him go for free, but I know there's
buy one get buying day free.
Yeah, we probably still owe money to Inter Milan for him.
Paying them Klarna for bloody Onana.
Yeah. And Hamish here. Oh, first time. I'm sure this is the first time I've seen you. So welcome to Dan Talks United. Welcome. Why don't we look at Gamma Rays? Again, I wish I could say that name like David does. So I'm just going to call him Bruno G. Again, that seems to have gone quiet though, Bruno G, to be fair. There doesn't seem to be anybody after him at the minute. I remember just before the season ended, there was a lot. Oh, Bruno G, as soon as the transfer market opens, there'll be a lot after him. But it seems to have gone really quiet. Would you have Bruno G? I'm sure you sort of mentioned it earlier anyway. But,
we touched on Brazil before, and I think he's had a quite nice group stage for Brazil, Bruno Guimaraes, and I think he's obviously going to, we're going to see how he progresses into the knockouts. But
he's been quietly doing all right, for Brazil.
For me, captain, and the way they're going, they've lost. Now, I'm not saying they've lost Gordon. They probably couldn't believe the offer came in for him because he's shite. Yeah. But do they need to? I think he's in a bit of an adopted Geordie now, Bruno G, and I'd be shocked if I think people would, Dan. Yeah. But I just think he likes Newcastle, loves the city.
Yeah, he seems to do. Yeah,
I mean, God, if they let him go, they're in rebuild.
Yeah, I think he's fallen in love with him like Bruno's fallen in love with United. I think
agreed.
That's it now.
So I think you could look at him, but and Lamani, I think he's going for Ray David there. Okay. Likes the mentality and discipline of Portuguese players. But the thing is, I've got to agree that I don't think we've really failed on a Portuguese player. Again, we always go back to Dalot, don't we? But he's had his moments where he's played well and done okay. Yeah, he's been okay.
I don't think he's a complete flop or anything. I think he's been useful. I think he's been okay. But I think generally speaking, we've done all right with Portuguese players. So there's no issue with that comment for me.
No, fair point. Agreed.
Tchouameni likes Man United, and I hope he does. Bouade is amazing. Yeah, he's looked well. I think I was sort of saying, David brought it up when I talked about it in the group chat, when I sort of said, he's looking a player. He's only 18, but he's looking a player.
I think you said it, Dan, just on Bouade very quickly. You mentioned before he's 18 years old in the French league. We've done this with Euro, haven't we? Can we take another risk at it? But look, if he goes on and Morocco play well in the knockouts, his stock's going to go up in it.
Of course it is.
I agreed with you. I thought he was brilliant in that Brazil game.
Oh, yeah. Tchouameni will do more at Man United than Roger did at City. Debatable. I'm not sure.
I hope so.
Yeah, it'd be nice if he did. Tchouameni
wins a Ballon d'Or at Man United.
Yeah. Bouade has 160 IQ. He's effectively a genius. I take it, niche fan, you like Bouade.
Yes.
I'm getting that very strong coming from you.
IQ that Bouade top.
Yeah, and Le Mans bringing you back down to earth there. And what Alex has also said, can he convert that into Premier League? How would IQ change? Okay, there's got a bit of argument here. Measure of intelligence. Check players who shinned at World Cups, and that's the thing as well. There's been a lot of players that have shined at the World Cups and then failed. Yeah. Liverpool have come against that before. We've come against that ourselves. I was saying to David, I think it might have been Poborski and stuff like that. I mean, we've had some. You get excited when you see a player do well at the World Cup and think, oh yeah, he puts himself in the shop window and then he comes and he fails.
Marcus Rojo in 2014, one of the best defenders at the tournament.
There's been a few, haven't there, across the Premier League where they've jumped at it and it's just not worked out.
Yeah,
Nemeka there valued at 100. Yeah, again,
who isn't?
I don't think exactly. It's going rate now, isn't it? It's going rate. And the thing is as well, if you've got a player that hasn't quite gone into the shop window yet, but you've seen all these other players going for, as you've said earlier, 85, 90s, 100, you're going to do the same with your player, aren't you? So it's going to be the new figure. Start at 90, start at 100. So
I think
that's
so.
What we're going to get now. Yeah,
I think so. I think 100 mil now is going to become your Tonali's of the world.
And niche fan. You want us to break the bank for Bouadi. I can see that. But don't forget he's 18. Don't forget he plays for Lille. Don't forget it's just the World Cup. But I get your point.
Yeah.
He's a modern six. Yeah, no, we were saying earlier about modern sixes and that maybe we need to drop the number now when we're calling people a 6 or an 8 or whatever. Modern game midfielders only world when you have proper perfect work, when you have proper perfect centre backs. Yeah, and again, sometimes you've got to adjust your tactics and maybe have a high line with your centre backs. Can we afford to do a high line with our centre backs currently? That's another issue. So you kind of have to have everything, don't you, if you're going to do that.
That's Dan. It comes back to the Euro thing. Like, he was the pacey guy we got for 60 mil. Like, if Euro can take that step forward, we've got a guy we can play a high line with. So coming back to what we said an hour ago, what a chance for Euro, and we need a player like Euro.
Yeah, and Laman saying, yeah, unlocking low blocks is mostly the work of wingers. But the thing is with that is, I'm not saying it's the job of a centre back, and maybe it's Lisandro Martinez that sort of changed things a little bit. But when you look at Martinez and how he can play the ball through the lines, you kind of want that in midfield as well. And you want different options of this. So you want your wingers to be able to beat their player, cross the ball in, or cut inside, or what have you, and make a nice pass inside. But you also want other players in your team, other positions that can do similar, because you need to mix it up. And when you're struggling against a low block, you need to mix things up a little bit and be able to play in different ways. But I do get your point.
Oh, I certainly get his point. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'd play Mano in the 8 and Anderson in the 6. That's if we got Anderson.
Sling Rice out. I think that's the thing as well. I know it's on the England topic here.
England, yeah.
They're on the England topic here. And the thing is with the low block and the wingers, I'm looking at England and I've got 2 midfielders. You could almost chuck Bellingham's not silk. I think he's a good footballer, but he's not he's not an intricate guy on the edge of the box who can unlock things. You've got 2 midfielders in Rice and Anderson who can't do anything against a low block. You got 4 wingers, whichever 2 you pick out of Rashford, Gordon, Madueke, and Saka. Other than Saka, them 3 can't cross. So for England, I'm like, I don't know what we're going to do against low blocks, to be honest.
Yeah.
Without Cobby.
Yeah, there's a lot of England chat going on there, so we'll just catch up on that. Yeah. So, yeah.
Don't like Rice and Anderson, sort of what we said, Dan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I think it's a fair point. So and I'm interested to see that Panama Saturday, Dan. That could be another one, another low block.
Yes, definitely. And how we come up against that low block. But like you said, Mano should start in that one.
Manu just offers you that connectivity, connects Bellingham with Rice or Anderson. And I thought in the Euros it worked quite well because he had a Foden as well to play off. The thing is I'm looking at is not just your Congo, Ghanas of the world, Panamas who are going to sit in on 25% of the ball. England could get Mexico in the round of 16, right? They're going to sit in a bit. They're very dangerous as well. And I'm looking at that going, Ghana caught us on the counter-attack with that concert penalty. Like, so if you can't unlock a low block, you're against a decent side like Mexico, you're going to lose. So,
we should have done really. Yeah, they should have had a penalty, in my opinion. So
it was ridiculous. From
yeah. What was I couldn't work it out if there was an offside or what, because I just thought that's a penalty. What's going on here? That's a crazy lunge. So we're just going to move the conversation on because I appreciate and I again thank you for your time, Alex. And I know we're knocking on a bit in terms of time. Just going to move on to really quickly because I know it's a bit of a dry subject, but this has come back up now. The stadium, the circus tent that we're building. We've acquired some different land. We don't need Freightliner's land anymore. Apparently. We've acquired some other land. It looks like we're going to move ahead now. Just really quickly, and my question is, are you having a new stadium or would you prefer to stay in the current stadium? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, you texted me today, didn't you, saying let's have a little chat about the stadium? And I was thinking today, I was in the car driving around for work, and I was thinking about the stadium. It's because it came on the scene quite suddenly, didn't it, a bit ago?
Yeah,
and then it went quiet. Now we got the land. I'm for it, and and let me sort of explain why, and then I'll see what you say on this. I have a lot of Old Trafford memories as a kid, and I still get the goosebumps going as an adult now, and I'm lucky enough to take my son with me now to games, who's 5 years old, and his face at the top of the steps is my face, and I'll never forget that. And Old Trafford is part of my life, part of even your 5-year-olds' lives of today, like my son. But I also think a new stadium, I do think we are still living in a little bit of the past and the shadow of what we once were. And Old Trafford represents success under Fergie, not the 14 years after, where we've been pretty crap considering where we were. And I do almost feel like a clean slate, new stadium, 100,000 seater, it gets us away from that. The Old Trafford era is over. It was brilliant with Fergie. Now we want to go in new direction as the biggest club in the world, and I'm for it. Because I think we have been sat there. Fergie's been in the stands, and it has felt we're still just in the shadow of what we once were. A new stadium, to me, I think it's what the club needs. I think it's what the fans need, and I'm on a waiting list for a season ticket for 5 years. So an extra 30,000 seats might get me a season ticket.
You might get in there, yeah.
I might be one of the lucky ones. So what do you think? I know obviously you're similar age to me. You got that connection with Old Trafford. How do you feel about the thought of flattening it and going to this? Like,
I think I'm just going to catch up on this before I answer. So, obviously, Anish fan saying, booking tent is complete joke. Clowns are going to pop out any moment. And we don't want that, because if we don't get our top choices or second choice, even third choice, clowns are going to be popping out at the stadium the way things are going. If we build this, it will be a piss take. As SJG is saying here, niche fans creased. It looks like a big glamping pod.
It does. Do you think?
I'm just thinking about not a fucking big top.
Look, I think if we're going on to the aesthetics, I do work in construction. Admittedly, it's more your affordable housing sector of the UK I work in, so I don't get to design stadiums like this. But I must admit, and you know what, Dan, I'm looking at that sort of sweeping tent around the outside. And I'm sort of thinking, how hot would it be under there today? Like on a hot day? Would it be like you said, glamping in 35-degree heat? I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm a bit sort of split in the sense
I tell you what, let's split the question down. What about forget the design? Let's get a different architect in who has another bash. The concept of a new stadium, 100,000 seater that looks better than this. What do you think of that as a concept rather than the actual product?
Yeah, I think I heard a comment today about the sort of elite teams or the elite clubs or the well-established clubs sort of don't build a new stadium, they adapt to the current one. And I mean, there may be a bit of a point in there, but I just think, is it time? Is it time? I think there's one bit of me that feels new stadiums can be a bit soulless. You kind of lose that edge of what you might have had where you've got that sort of home record type thing. Did Arsenal sort of struggle a bit at the Emirates at first? We can see Everton struggle.
Upton Park to where they are. Well, they've been relegated.
Spurs was a bit of a struggle at first, but I just think that because Old Trafford is so, I mean, I love the place whenever I go. I love the place, but I think because it's getting so run down, and I think because the Glazers didn't spend any money on it, I don't know if we were in a position where we can do much with it now. I'm all for the new stadium because of the capacity. I think we can fill it. I mean, we can fill it, no problem. Currently, I think we can fill an extra 30,000 seats, no problem. Easy. You're on a waiting list, so is many other people on a waiting list.
5 years done, waiting list.
We've got such. This is it, and we've got such a global fan base. I think, I'm for it. I think in terms of design, really quickly, I get the Trident thing. I get it. I think maybe this could be the first concept, and you can go back and rethink it, maybe. But it's one of those where it can grow on you as well. I think it could grow on you. And I think just for the regeneration of the area, for the jobs, for the outlook, for it to be a bit more modern, for the connections going into the stadium and everything else that's going to be around it, I think it'd be a great, what they've been thinking about as well in terms of you could go there for a full day and fill your day in terms of having something to eat, having a bit of entertainment, going to the match and then doing something afterwards. So I'm for it in that sense, to bring us into the future, really, and really give us a stadium we can be proud of. Because I like that SoFi Stadium over in America. That stadium's beautiful. And I think a team like Manchester United, with the amount of fans we have and that global appeal we have, we should be up there with our stadium. And I just think Old Trafford, as much as it's iconic and a lot of things have happened there, and it'd be sad to see that go, in a sense, I think overall, just I'd want a new stadium. And as Michael's saying, yeah, why not tear it down and build again from scratch with increased capacity while we move somewhere for the duration of construction? Old Trafford should be UNESCO site. Yeah, and I get that. I think it's one of those where you'd want there to be something that's lasting in the area, that's got a connection to Old Trafford still, because again, you don't know what you're going to get in the new stadium. And it does mean that you kind of almost feels like you're getting rid of a lot of history.
It does.
From, all the players that have played there. Yeah.
That's a conversation, isn't it? And what can they do to retain that nostalgia of Old Trafford? It's ridiculous. I think as well, Dan, sat here right now, Tottenham Hotspur have a better stadium than Man United.
Yeah.
They could be about to poach Man United's
first better squad
midfielder target. Tonali was on the list as well. I'm not having that. Man United should have the best and the biggest stadium, and just cracking that 100. As a kid, I always used to think the Nou Camp is 100,000, isn't it? And there's not many stadiums in the world that's you crack that 100,000 capacity. Man United, we'd fill it weekly, and what a flex to have 100K every week at United games, and hopefully I'd be one of them. But
yeah, so it's not growing on SJG there.
SJG not having it.
It might do once it's built, you never know. And Michael's come back in there to say, and I think you might be on about Real Madrid, maybe Bernabeu. I think they've stayed put on there. Barcelona stayed put as well, I believe. So I think that's going back to the point that I heard today from journalists saying that those real iconic clubs don't actually move; they stay put and keep going. But the thing is, we haven't spent any money on our current stadium. I don't really know how it works. Whether I think it was a proposal. I think it was an option to try and do something there. But I think, again, is it because it's too close to the railway line? I don't know. Is it because it's too close to other things, potentially? So I don't know if we've got the scope to really... you could extend stands, but we really want a stadium that we can be proud of going into the future for me. And I know, again, it's iconic Old Trafford and I love it, but I think I'm ready to see a new stadium, me personally.
Same.
And niche fans saying here, I bet you anything Ineos flog every brick of Old Trafford. Yeah, I get your point. You do feel that Sir Jim's a bit tight. They will flog the fucking handrails. 500. Yeah, you can see that happening.
Mate, they'll build a few houses with them bricks.
Yeah, probably.
Do I work for snap them up? Affordable housing. Them red bricks.
Whoever thinks the clown tent looks good, yeah. And again, it's one of those that, it's an acquired taste probably, but you never know, it might grow on you. Right, we'll move on from the stadium because I didn't want to spend too much time on it, but it is a thing that's happening. We've got some movement, so hopefully, I did hear another journalist say that once they've got the land sorted and the investment sorted, they could build it in 2 years because of the modern technology around building and shipping a load of stuff in on the canal.
Amazing.
That would be impressive if you could build it in two years. That would be really impressive. It'll be a bit of what they do a lot of stuff in, because it's funny you should say that in terms of construction. I work in housing, but more of the offering housing. And we've talked about getting sort of those modular homes sort of thing where the homes are sort of built off site and then you sort of do a bit of
put them on the back of a wagon and take it.
Yeah, that's it. So very similar with the stadium, maybe. Who knows?
Right. I hear you, yeah.
I believe modern architecture can renovate Old Trafford. Yeah, and again, you could be right there, Michael. You could be right. I think, again, I don't know whether it's, again, an access thing or where they are.
I think there is a planning issue on, the low side of the stadium. It's the only one that's one tier. They can't raise that tier. And I think with the other three that have raised, it looks odd, but council will not let them, because I think they've tried to. So, Old Trafford, it's not a smooth.
It's going to split opinion, isn't it? It's going to split opinion. It's as simple as that.
I get it.
Yeah, a niche fan saying, Michael, I want a new stadium, no renovations. Yeah, so niche fan is very strong on Boade and very strong on a new stadium. So we're going to move on really quickly for people that have stayed in, and really thank you to people that are viewing.
Yeah, appreciate you all,
staying in and just keeping
tonight.
the comments going and keeping it going.
Definitely.
So we're just going to move on to the latter stages of this show now and talk about the season ahead. I sort of touched on it on my last show, but I just want to get your thoughts on it as well. So really quickly, kicking off with the first, I know you can't see some of that now, but sort of the opening 5 games.
Yeah.
I mean, looking pretty good, isn't it, in regards to what we've been? I mean, I can't remember a season where we've had, I shouldn't say easy, because we have struggled against low blocks. We struggled against the lower sides, but that's quite a favourable opening sort of first 5 games there.
I mean, if you could have handpicked the first 2, I think most teams in the league would have picked Hull away, Ipswich at home as your first 2 fixtures in whichever order. Okay, you've got a little derby in there, which
Fulham's the next game, by the way, after City. By the way, Fulham.
Okay, so look, you've got 2 promoted clubs and a bottom half team in Everton, and then you've got the derby. However, think of it this way. Yes, City looks like you're penciling that as a difficult game. You're at home, Dan, and you like to think we are going into that on 3 wins, or at least 2 wins on the first 2. I think we should try and do a watch along for that. For anybody that's listening now, we'll try and do a watch along with my brother and Dan and Dave for that game. I think that'd be pretty cool if we could do it. But side note, I think we've got the guys that aren't at the World Cup as well, Dan, that are going to put in some graft. You've got a Sesko, you've got an Mbumo, you've got a Yoro, you've got Shaw, Maguire. These guys are at home now, having a good rest. They can come into this season, and we can start quickly. I think we can, if we can start well. That City game could be a massive game. It is a massive game anyway, but what I'm saying is
new coach as well. You just don't know what you're going to get from City. That's the other side.
Exactly. I mean, we don't know how City are going to start. City will no doubt have probably got 14 players at the World Cup, haven't they? Whereas we haven't. And I look at that City game, and if we could win them first 3, big if here. Everton away won't be easy. If we could, and then you beat City at home, what a start to the season.
And then go into Fulham.
Then you go to Fulham, and then you got Tottenham, Leeds, Bournemouth, and then you play everyone twice, right? But it is important that first 3 or 4. We started last season at home to Arsenal, lost a difficult game 1-0. Then we had Fulham away, and we drew that 1-1, and we just got off to a shit start last season, and it just snowballed with Ruben. I really like to see us win them first 3, Dan. And then we prep for City, and then we try and beat them. And just for you, Dan, if we did win 3 out of 3, and then we did win that derby, are you sort of, maybe thinking, how good could this season be? I won't say it. I won't say the words.
Yeah, before we get into that, we are going to sort of touch on some early sort of feelings and predictions. But I think just to answer it really quickly, though, I'd be getting a bit giddy. I've got to be said. I'd be getting a bit giddy. I've got to say it. As Michael's saying here, genuinely scared of the first 5 fixtures. And I get your point because I sort of touched on that as well, Michael, that I'm saying they're easy games, but we have struggled. And you're right. There's some hunger. There'll be some hunger from these sides that have just come up. And I don't know if it's true, but I believe we've requested that we play the first game away because we've been doing some renovation to the ground, to the pitch. Right. So I think what's happened there as well, I might be wrong, but what I've been reading is that they're trying to get rid of that sort of slope. So after Sesko got injured. Yeah, because when Sesko got pushed and he got injured, I think they're trying to get rid of that now because it is dangerous. It is dangerous. So playing Hull away sort of thing. Because I think that's saying home there, but it's away that first game.
It is away. You're right.
Playing Hull away could be interesting. So you are right, and we've got to win that game for me because if we dare lose that, there's going to be pressure on Carrick straight away. We've got to win that. We've got to win.
I wouldn't be surprised. They like to kick off with a Friday night, don't they? The prep.
Yeah.
I think that could be a Friday night game. That might be the curtain raiser.
Apparently, it's Arsenal that's playing it.
Oh, is it Arsenal? Oh, has it already been
I think
decided?
it's Arsenal.
My bad.
Yeah, I think it's Arsenal.
Fairs.
I think it is because we're playing lunchtime Saturday against Hull. I think it's lunchtime.
Yeah,
so
fair
I think
enough.
it's Arsenal that's the curtain raiser, I believe.
No,
but yeah,
no
so
worries. Okay.
Before I go on to the other sort of comments there as well,
yeah,
towards the end of the season's looking, if there is a run-in for us, that's looking quite favourable as well, to be honest with you. Because I was a bit worried that we didn't have Brighton, because normally we have Brighton towards the end of the season. They've got nothing to play for. We normally beat Brighton, but I'm just gonna pull it up on my screen so I can just sort of say what the last sort of 5 games are. So you've got towards the end, you're going to have Coventry City, who knows where they will be at that stage. Bournemouth, always tricky, but a new coach there as well. Leeds United probably don't have much to play for by that point. Spurs, second to last, and then last is Fulham. So the start and the finish isn't bad. Isn't bad. If we can have a good start, we could have a good finish as well, potentially.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this. I think we can win it all. No,
but don't say anything yet. We're going to get into predictions. Don't say anything yet.
Sure thing.
So hold tight, people that are in the chat.
Put it
easy
this way.
12 points from the first 5, apparently, Niche fans saying. So you're confident there, Niche fan?
Right, okay. And Michael beat me to it. The haircut.
You've brought him up. I completely forgot about this guy.
I forgot about him. He must still be doing his vids, but I've not seen him.
I was getting really fed up with him in the end.
I do think that the City game is going to be a game that will be very important if we start well. And it could be that one where...
And Niche fans right, we need the players in.
Of course we have. And obviously we're going to miss... Some of them are going to miss a pre-season. We think Cunha and Bruno are going to be late in. Definitely them two. Mainoo, I'm not sure because he's not getting many minutes for England. So I don't know whether he will be in or whenever. Let's get me on the new stadium. yeah. I'll dust off the old design skills. Yeah. No, I do think City, if we can win 3 out of 3, I cannot wait for that City game. I mean, I can't wait for the season to start anyway. But yeah, that is a big one for me because I can see us starting well because we've got 2 promoted clubs. Everton away, tough. That City game, if you win that and go 4 out of 4 down, well... We've not said it, but I think everyone knows what we're thinking.
We're getting giddy. We're getting giddy. And it's SJG saying here, Strand needs to piss off. We need to just find him. I can't just David said and pin him down and shave his hair off and get him fucked off.
He lives abroad, doesn't he? He lives abroad.
Oh, he does, doesn't he? Yeah, he does, doesn't he? But, I think he lives in Spain, doesn't he? I think.
Wow. It must be hot today for him with all that hair.
Exactly, yeah. So, let's just see this other comment coming in. Niche fan, you know what? I fucking hate that Strand prick. Got his hair and giving it to the kids already. Yeah,
I know. I remember Niche fan. He's got a very good way with words. Absolutely top.
Definitely.
And I completely echo his.
So, we could go on all night, people, but we're not going to do that. You know, we've got families and what have you. And again, thank you, Alex, for sticking this out. We're going to get on to really quickly now predictions. We've talked about that favourable start. We've talked about the favourable end. Let's have some early predictions. Obviously, can I just say before we get into that, this doesn't mean that we can't change our minds at the start of the season, by the way, people. And I want you all to tune in throughout the season because it's going to be a big season, this one. And we want to really grow this season. All of us do. And we're going to do watch-alongs, as Alex is saying, so we're going to hold him to that. But before we get stuck into things, like I say, it's got to be. We've got to allow us. We've got to allow us to be able to change our minds. Is all I'm saying because we haven't really got any signings yet. So there's one thing to think about. We don't know what the other clubs are doing yet either. What they're going to sign. So we're going to change our minds throughout the season, but this is just a really sneaky, really cheeky early prediction. So fire away, Alex. What are you thinking?
Can I go with expectation then prediction? Is that okay? Just to set the stall a little bit. Okay. Expectation, right? We've just come 3rd, Dan. I think you would agree a good season. Certainly from Michael's perspective, Michael Carrick. My expectation here, and I don't want all the United heads to come for me here going, he's happy with 3rd. He's not a United fan. We should win the league, right? Because I can already see that happening, right? As much as I want to sit here and say, Man United should be winning, should be challenging every year. I also understand there is stepping stones towards that goal. Arsenal have just showed you that, where they've eventually got there. Hopefully it doesn't take as many steps as them, but they did get there, right? For me, I think a stability season in that top 3. If we get off to that hot start and we beat City in game 4, we can talk then about getting carried away. For me, we've got the Champions League games done. We've got games in midweek now. Carrick's not had experience in Europe. We've got new players. We've got young players who I think need to develop. So for me, if we come third again, can we close the gap with first and second? City, new manager. Arsenal, is their style sustainable for back-to-back Prems? But someone's got to win it. If Enzo Maresca doesn't win it in his first attempt, Liverpool, Chelsea, forget. United, probably unlikely. It's going to be probably Arsenal. Early predictions. For me, after seeing those fixtures, because I know you did a show on them, and I did look at them quickly, but just looking at them again, I would like to see where we are after game 4, after that City game.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying if we win 4 out of 4, we're going to win the league, because I understand.
You are. I
mean, trust me, if we're doing a watch along with my brother who's a City fan and we beat them and we've won 4 out of 4, I will be saying it then. I can promise you that. But right now, you've caught me on a sensible day. So let's say a stability season with a cup run. Let's be all right in the Champions League, Dan. Let's be
exactly.
Let's be fucking decent in the Champions League. Let's not just get twatted in the groups and go out to somebody crap in the playoffs. Get to the round of 16. Let's be a tough team to beat.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, you pull a Bayern in the round of 16. I can accept we're going to probably lose that tie. But if we avoid Bayern and PSG, can we go to the quarters? Can we be a problem in the Champions League? That would be amazing. And I'd like to go to a Champions League game at OT. I think a stability season, I think that's what it will be. I've got faith in Carrick. I've got faith in Ineos. I do think we're going to have a top 3 finish. Going to lean third, obviously, right now. Like you said, there's room to up that as we progress. And I probably will up that when I get carried away. But right now, I think it's going to be a stability season. And I don't know what you think, Dan. I don't mind that on the surface. Just before you go, Mourinho came second. Next season, sacked at Christmas, 6th. Complete disarray because he didn't get Harry Maguire. Ollie came second, sacked at Christmas in 8th. Ten Hag, 3rd, should have been sacked at Christmas, didn't, 8th. We've had a good season. I think a stability season is fine. Look at the history post Fergie. Whenever we've been on the cusp of something, building something, it's gone to shit and we've imploded. So I'd be happy with that on the surface. Can we dream about something better? I hope so.
Yeah. And just before I come in, can people that are still in here put your predictions in as well? Be bold. Don't just let us say it. Be bold. Because I know what it can be like sometimes. You say something, look what he said, get clipped up and all this sort of stuff. Just say it. Say it with chest. Let's see what people are saying before we get cracked on.
I had the best night since I've been doing YouTube, TikTok, when I said United had a better attack than Arsenal and we beat them 3-2. And I spent Sunday night, I replied to every single one of them. It got 200,000 views and I replied to all of them. So that's it. Maybe I should have said it, but there's time, Dan. Like you said,
there's something wild.
There's time to scale up that third.
There is. And when we get 3 in a row, 4 in a row, it'll be Sanish Fania, we've got Tchouameni, Murillo, Diamond, then we may just win it. So is that meant to be Dear Monday? Sorry,
Ivory Coast,
It's I get that. So that's bold. Michael Carrick has had experience in Europe as an assistant and then counts 2.
It's minimal though, isn't it?
We have to 5 out of 5 before fatigue sets in. So get that. SJG. I'm not saying shit. Dan got PTSD.
Come on,
I get it.
Come on, SJ. Come on.
I want to say something wild, but I'm actually thinking what you were saying. I was sort of thinking at this stage anyway. I was thinking sort of 3rd or 4th. A little bit worried that Chelsea might turn things around. Worried that Spurs with De Zerbi, who knows, especially if they start beating us to players as well. and we can't discount them. We can't just assume because they were crap last season that they're going to be crap this season. And you do get shocks. There's always a shock every season, I'd say. So I'd love to put pressure on Arsenal. I'd love that Arsenal aren't just going to just win it and no sort of pressure, no challenge. You don't know what you're going to get from City, as you've said yourself there with Maresca and what have you. Diamonde is shit. Wouldn't sign him even. Right, okay. I mean, to be fair, I'm not a massive Diamonde fan, if I'm honest, either. Chelsea. Well, I mean, niche fan. Yeah, and again, this is another thing as well. There's a few new coaches coming in now. So you got new coaches in quite a few teams, even Bournemouth, who are down there a little bit. New coach there, new coach at City, new coach at Chelsea. You don't know what you're going to get. They will get backed, I would say, as well. So it's only really that Arsenal that's got that little bit of stability. There's a new coach at Liverpool as well. So there's a lot to think about in terms of which way this could go. And not everybody's going to do well. That's one thing we do know. Not everybody's going to do well. You might have thought Thomas Frank was going to do well at Spurs, but look how that turned out. So you just don't know. They're losing all their players. Yeah, potentially.
Would you be happy with a stability season, Dan?
I'm just gonna go back onto that. I think at the minute, sort of third or fourth sort of thing. I think that I might get giddy when the season starts and we start winning a few games. But
absolutely,
happy is probably the wrong word, and don't kill me, people in the chat, about being happy. But I think Alex is right about that stability season where you sort of cement your position. So we've got third, we're in the Champions League. We need to get back in the Champions League straight away again for me and have that back-to-back. So I don't think we've done that in a very long time. And get a bit of stability where we can build on what we've got and then go again. I think it's a really good time to challenge because, again, so many teams have got new coaches and you don't know what you're going to get. I think I also agree with the Arsenal thing you've said with Arteta. Has he really got the cojones to do it again? Has he really got the setup to do it again? I'm not that impressed with Arsenal last season, as we all know, in terms of the way they played. If he decides that the pressure's off and I want to play a different way, which there's every chance he might do it, and he wants to play a slightly different way, not rely on set pieces too much. But another thing as well is they were very lucky at times. They had very few, if any, penalties against them. There's certain games where they probably should have drawn and they won in the end. We know that City let them off the hook. So I'm not saying that opens up the floodgates for us to get in there, by the way, but I am saying that we should be closer to them, which I want to be. I want to be closer to Arsenal this time round. I want a good cup run in terms of Champions League. I want to get as far as possible in that and not go out with a whimper and embarrassment. Not as bothered about Carabao Cup or even the FA Cup so much. However, it would be nice to win a cup. I know we probably haven't got the depth to do all of it. To do all of it, it's probably going to be a challenge. And it's also about the, I suppose, the pot being favourable to us, who we get drawn against.
Sure.
Because I felt sometimes we were a bit hard done by sometimes in the cups, who we get drawn against. I think sometimes some of these clubs were getting really sort of easy draws. Although Grimsby, let's not forget Grimsby. That was like one of the worst nights of my life.
That was a tough one, that. Yeah.
But yes, I think that stability season, I'm with you on that. But I'm hoping for a bit more if we can. But a stability season, I'm really hoping for that.
Let's picture another stability season, Dan. I'll tell you, it would be nice to be sat here this time in a year's time, and we really feel like we're in that's where Arsenal were. I mentioned Liverpool with Van Dijk, where Arsenal were with Rice. When if we can nail that one guy this summer, or like Liverpool did in January with Van Dijk, that's us. We know that's going to put us to the top, and we're going to be challenging. It'd be so nice to be there this time next year and going, right, circle him. If we get him like Arsenal did with Rice, that's us challenging for 3 years. And I'd love to be there next summer where we're one big dog away from challenging, and that'd be nice. So if we could accelerate that, I mean, Ineos, by all accounts, please do. But I'm being realistic.
Yeah, that's got to be a part of their project, and whatever they call the project, that we do something like that. And you're right.
He spoke well, though, didn't he?
He did. I quite liked a lot of what he was saying.
Yeah, good transparency as well. Like,
yeah, and I think obviously I get excitement from players coming in, but excitement's probably the wrong word, but I was quite happy Barada coming in. I thought again, you don't really want to sort of aspire to be like your rivals, but you've got to hand it to City, putting the 115 stuff to one side in terms of how they run things, their sporting department, listening to obviously the all or nothing sort of thing with City. They've got their shit together in that sense. And I think Barada coming in gave me some hope that we're going to get our shit together. So
agreed.
Like you're saying there, I think if we can be in a position end of next season where we finish third, let's say, and we're a bit closer to Arsenal, if it is Arsenal that win it, or City if they win it, or whoever it wins it, I'd be happy that we can then kick on, like you're saying, and just get that one or two marquee signings that changes the tide for us. And I think we just need to be in a position where we're ready for that, where we're just one signing away. Right now, we're probably 7 or 8 signings away, it feels, but I'd love to be in a position where we're like 1 or 2 signings away of really nailing it.
It's like
going for it.
Like that centre back. Say we're sat here in 12 months' time and we go and get that centre back that changes everything. Go and get us a world class 120 million next summer. Go and get him, and that puts us right in the race with whoever it probably Arsenal City again in a year's time. And I'd be very happy with that. Let's not have Carrick sacked in December. We're 8th. We're scrambling for top 8 in the Champions League. Let's not do that again. Like we've been, like I said, every time, Dan, we've had what we think is a foundation season. 3rd, 2nd, we're gonna go 8th, sacked. Let's not do that.
Yeah, and Michael's saying here, I know obviously our standards are high, by the way, Michael, but you're saying you reckon we have become Wenger's Arsenal, that we're comfortable with 4th place finishes. United hierarchy sound like a bunch of politicians. I mean, like what we're saying, we're definitely not saying that. We're not doing that comfortable in 4th and 3rd. I think we've been accustomed and we've got used to, unfortunately, trying to get into the Champions League positions. If you remember going back to the Wenger days, we were always winning the league or second and doing well in other cups and stuff like that. And we never thought of sort of qualifying for the Champions League as a thing. It's become a thing, but trust me, myself and Alex, we're saying getting that sort of stability season and then pushing on and kicking on. And I think you have to do things in stages. I don't think we can go from where we've been to winning the league this season. I just don't see that. But we need to gradually get there. And I think, okay, we don't want to take as long as Arsenal did in a way, but we want to, I think in the next 2 or 3 seasons, we need to be there. We need to be there. And I think there's no reason why we shouldn't
steps, be. Isn't it? Look,
of course it is.
Would I love us to go insanely aggressive? I'll tell you what, let's flip it to the other side. What I will give to people who might watch this and go, oh, you know, your standards are low. I do think there is a championship window here. There isn't a Pep. There isn't a Klopp. Arteta's Arsenal, I don't look at them as any sort of juggernaut that's going to rip off 3 in a row. Like, if this is Guardiola's City, we ain't sat here thinking we can put our art in the race. But it's Arteta's Arsenal. And I will say, if Ineos had the summer of all summers, spent 350 million, I do think there's a championship window in the Prem. I just think it's a step too far right now. Look, like you said, 4 signings, hopefully still to come in. If they went and did 5 and smashed it, I think we could be close, but there's so many ifs and buts right now.
Of course there is. And as Niche fans saying here, I think you might be referring to the Amazon documentary that we'll be doing. Yes, you wouldn't want an Arno, Ugarte, Rashford sort of going around the place when we're in the documentary. But that does spark something there that if we're going to do that Amazon thing, we really need to be bringing in some really good players to actually make that documentary the best it can be. so that we're actually challenging.
Yeah.
So I get your
And
point.
they must have got some money
Nana
for it.
won't be there, by the way, because he's on loan. So that's one good thing.
They must have got some. They must have got some cash in as well from old Jeff
Yeah,
from Amazon to get that done. So
yeah. I think it's about £10 million or something like that, or excess of. We ain't spending 100 million like others, and let us use our state of art scouting. Yeah, we talked about scouting earlier, Michael, that we've got to use that. And like I said, really enjoying the show, but we're going to have to come to an end now because we've been going for a while. And like I say, we've got World Cup probably matches to watch. We've got families to get back to. But again, really enjoyed it, people. You've made it really work today, definitely. We are united. We can be the next fucking season. They're the next fucking season. This is the chance since Pep and Klopp are no more. And again, it's what we've been touching on, Michael, is that it is a good chance. It's a really big chance now to do something. And it's only really Arteta that we've got to get past. And I just, as Alex has said there himself, I don't think that much of Arteta. Fair play to you. You've won the league. Fair play to you. But you're not the juggernaut. You're not the Sir Alex Ferguson. You're not the Pep. You're not the Mourinho. So it's open season. It really is. It's open season. I think it's I agree. For anybody, for me.
I totally agree. Get aggressive and I will say why not. I'm what I would say on Ineos, I know it's been a slow start to the summer. It has for everyone with the World Cup being on, Dan. I wouldn't be too low on Ineos yet. I think there's time to crank it up on them. If we're sat here in a month's time, I know pre-season starts in 2 weeks. So after the World Cup final, if things are slow, I think fine. But you remember last summer, it was meant to be Cunha and Mbumo, and that's it. And then they got Le Mans and Sesko after that. Don't rule out Ineos. They could be a bit of a sleeping giant here with the spending, and I hope they are. Obviously, we need it.
Well,
it's early days. Yeah, I think
it is. And I think more than one journalist, and again, more than one credible journalist, really, really strongly believe they're holding out for a marquee signing, especially in midfield. So again, all arrows are pointing to Tchouameni. Is it going to be him? Man. I don't know. But apparently, they really do want to spend big on the central midfield. So hopefully that does happen. And hopefully that can then take us forward then. CR7 came back and there will still be game cubes. Yeah. And I know obviously you said a lot of stuff, didn't you, about the training ground. But we've got the new Carrington. Yeah, I'd like to see the new Carrington actually. So it looks really nice. So it all counts. It all counts. Yeah, the pool was fixed. Right then, guys, we could definitely go on all night. I am going to bring it to a close there. But again, please, please, please look out for Alex and his brother Christian, Football Brotherhood, cracking content that they've got. Do a lot on TikTok as well. You need to look out for the watch-alongs, as Alex has said. So please look out for him. Drop a sort of like and a follow and subscribe and any other word that we use out there in the social media world. But definitely thank you for joining, Alex. It's been a great show. Really enjoyed it. I could probably go on another hour or so, but we have to bring it to a close.
Absolutely, Dan. I've really enjoyed it. It must be about 35 degrees in here, and probably the same room you're sat in.
I've got a fan that's doing nothing; it's just blowing hot air. So I need to go and have a cold shower or something.
Yeah, same, man. That's exactly what I'm doing. I might grab a beer as well. But I've enjoyed it, Dan. Nearly 2 hours. Feels like we've been on for 20 minutes. And
thanks,
and
Michael.
The guys. Yeah, shout out the guys in the chat as well. I recognise a few of the names from the tuned into some of my watch-alongs. So thank you all. Yeah, appreciate it. It's been great.
And it's becoming a community, and we all working together well. We're not here to fight or anything like that. We get along. We do shows together. It's not like those other shows and those panel shows where we're all trying to fight each other and stuff. Yeah, we just want to talk football, good content, and almost like old school, going down the pub and talking footy. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Nothing better. Absolutely nothing better. So
we'll
save the fighting for the watch-alongs.
Exactly. Yeah, we'll fall out then.
With Christian.
Yeah, I'm just about to say we'll attack Christian, won't we? We'll remember that we are rivals. We need to remember
100%. 100%.
But we'll finish on there. Amazing show. Thanks again for everybody watching Dan Talks United. Please look out for the Football Brotherhood and Alex and Christian. It's been amazing. Cracking show. Like I said, we could go on forever, but we're going to end it there. So thanks a lot for watching. See you later, people.
Cheers, guys.